Hi guys, my name is Kip Zachary. I'm a celebrity makeup artist. I'm sure you're familiar with a few of my clients from either seeing them on TV or a movie screen. I've worked with Taryn Manning, I've worked with Nicole Beharie, Tia Mowry, and today we're going to do a look that I've done on Crystal Hefner for the 60th anniversary of Playboy. I'm going to go ahead and apply a primer, which is going to get the skin prepped and ready to have the foundation applied over it. Creates a nice barrier in between the skin and the foundation so that it wears really well. I'm going to go ahead and use a beauty blender and apply some Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. This foundation is very, very sheer, so you can go ahead and tap it on and build it to your liking. I'm going in with a neutral shade. She's a little bit more gold in her skin. But nobody has just one solid color, so you can even mix a couple different colors. Bring in a little bit of the pinky peach tones. When you're using the beauty blender, you can just kind of roll it on the skin. It just deposits the foundation really lightly, and if you want to build it up, just kind of pat it. I'm taking a couple different colors. I'm using a gold tone and a little bit more of a peachy tone, so I'm using primarily the golden tone all over it, but I'll mix in a little bit of that other color just to make it the perfect match. If you don't have a beauty blender, this will become your best friend. Make it a little bit moist, so I've just run a little bit of water over it. That way it doesn't suck up so much of the foundation. When you're doing your makeup, you just want it to be situation appropriate. So if this is more like how I would be doing makeup for a red carpet, it's going to be more beautiful in a natural daylight situation, which is very different than if you're doing a photo shoot. Primarily, foundation is mostly necessary in the T-zone. You don't always have to bring it all the way out, especially if it's a good enough match. It should just blend right into the skin. The T-zone is the most active zone, so if we're going to have any discoloration, larger pores, it's going to be primarily in that little area. What I'm going to do now is go in with a slightly darker shade. And this is fun. This is contouring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the hollow of her cheek, which is usually right here above the hairline, below the hairline above the ear, and just start bringing in that darker shade towards the corner of the mouth. I'm doing a very natural contour. It can get really crazy if you want to do the whole Kim Kardashian contour, but I want this to look really pretty in person. Another area where you can put this is in the temples. So right here above the eyebrow, and work it up towards the hairline. This is where the natural shadow falls when light hits you. But you want to leave this little area right here, this cheekbone, you want to leave it nice and light. It's going to bring more light to the cheekbone, which opens that area up. Another area where you'd want to place contour is right here underneath the jawline. If you have a little bit more of a square face, you're going to want to roll it just kind of right here and bring it up so that you can kind of create a shadow right on the edge of the jaw, so you kind of minimize that area. So if you're a little bit more square, that's where you're going to want to put that. If you have a nice oval shape, just do it right here under. You can just feel it going right under your jaw. Another area where you can put some contour is right here on the outside of the nose. The one thing you want to avoid is looking like you have railroad tracks coming down the side of your nose. Keep it really natural. People are going a bit overboard because the whole contour trend has become really popular. So what you're going to do is just take it and where the natural shadow falls, just kind of bring it up to the corner of the nose. It doesn't have to be a crazy dark color. You can just do it with a shade or two darker of your foundation. You're going to do it on the tip of the nose. If you feel like you have a longer nose, just take that and bring it up. The light is going to fall right here on the top of your nose. So that's a little trick on how to shorten your nose just a touch. The makeup that we're going to do today, we're going to replicate the look that I did for Crystal Hefner for the 60th anniversary of Playboy. So the look was really fun because she was wearing her black bunny suit, which is reserved for special bunnies. You can go back in with a little bit of the lighter foundation again. And turn just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the contour that I just put and make it even more pronounced by just taking a little bit of the lighter foundation and creating that nice hollow in that cheekbone. On this side, so you can see that shadow. I just want it to stand out a little bit more, so right underneath, I'm just making it more pronounced. Now before I apply powder over this, a nice little trick is, if you want your blush to stay on a really long time, is to take a cream blush and apply it on the apples of the cheeks before you powder down. One of my favorite things right now is this Quan Isidore cream blush. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that on a smaller blush brush. I'm going to take that and go right on to the apple of the cheek. For Crystal's look, we wanted to go with a smoky eye. So what I wanted to do was keep the rest of the face nice and feminine and not create a really harsh look. Smoky eyes can kind of make it a bit more dramatic. So I wanted everything else to remain really feminine, really soft. So I'm just applying that right on the apple of the cheek, going in a circular motion, and then I'll just pull it back towards the ear. If you ever have that problem of your blush kind of disappearing throughout the day, this is a great trick. What this will do is just kind of create that base for your blush. A good way to find where you need to put your blush is, go ahead and smile for me, Amber. See where the fullness of the cheek? You literally just take your brush and dab it right onto where the apple of the cheek is. Then you just kind of blend it in and pull it back. Another little trick I like to do is to create a consistency with your blush and your lip. You can go ahead and take a little bit of your cream blush and put it on your lips. I wanted Crystal's lips to remain really soft for that day. I didn't want to go on with lip pencil. I didn't want to create any harsh lines on the lip. The eye was going to be so dramatic that I didn't want this to take away from any of the attention that was going on the eyes. I know this might be a little different than how some makeup artists do makeup. I like to get the color on the cheeks and the lips first, especially when you're doing such a dramatic eye, because it allows you to create balance. A lot of times with makeup, that's the key, is actually knowing when to say when. I'm going to go ahead and use one of my favorite concealers. This is by Clé de Peau. I'm going to go ahead and apply that right underneath the eye. There's two ways you can do it. You can actually take the stick and strike it onto the skin and then blend it afterwards. It'll give it a little bit more of a heavy coverage. Or you can just take it right onto your brush and deposit it underneath the eye, and it'll just be a little bit more of a lighter touch. This concealer is amazing because it actually has skin treatment in the concealer. You can take it right into this corner. We normally have a little bit of veins going on in that area, which creates a little bit of darkness. We want to brighten that whole area up. So if you're painting, this would be your canvas. We want to get it just nice and primed. So see how after I just put a little bit of concealer, just this little bit of color on the lid would change the look of the shadows. So again, to enhance our contouring, you can build it in layers. I'll just take a little bit of the concealer, go right here on the chin, down the bridge of the nose, just a little V onto the forehead. Highlighting really just pulls your eye towards it. So anywhere you put your highlight, it's going to pull the area forward. Wherever you put the darkness, it's going to recede, so it's going to move backwards. Alright, so right now we have a lot of creamy, emollient items on the skin. We want to go ahead and lock those in place. So I'm going to go ahead and use some powders. I'll use a little bit of loose around the eye area and a little bit more of like a compact around the whole surface. After you apply your concealer, it might kind of settle into some of the lines. Go ahead and look up for me, Amber. Take the heat from the pad of your finger and just press it into the skin. I'm kind of moving up towards the lashes. And then what you're going to do is have your loose powder. What I'm using right now is Laura Mercier's brightening powder. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to apply it right over that under eye. I like using a light loose powder in this area because it's actually finer. The milling process is a lot smaller, so it's not going to look heavy. I kind of like the coverage that we achieved, so I'm going to use Dior's loose powder. You don't have to apply powder everywhere. If you kind of keep it towards the center of the face, that's where our skin's more active. So if you're going to get shiny, if you're going to get oily, those are the areas where you really want to lock that foundation in. Use more of a patting motion. When you swirl more, it's going to do more blending as opposed to locking your foundation in. I'm going to go ahead and layer the contouring with Kevin Quan's Shade and Sculpt in medium. I'm going to use MAC's contour brush. I'm going to take that and I'm going to roll it right into the hollow. Just enhancing where those shadows naturally fall. If I want to enhance around the nose, this brush will be a little bit too big. I'm going to switch to something that's just a little bit smaller and kind of take it right down the bridge of the nose. I like to kind of connect it to the eyebrow. As I'm blending it, I will blend it in so that the shadow starts curving up towards the center of the nose. So now that we've put all of our shadows into the face with our contour, let's bring some light back to the skin. Who doesn't like glowy, beautiful skin? What I'm going to use is Laura Mercier's Spellbound Highlight Powder. I'm going to take that on a very loose brush. The looser the brush, the less product it picks up. And I'm just going to sweep that over the cheekbone. If you want to create more volume on the cheek, wrap it around the cheek. That's going to bring the light right onto the apple of the cheek and pull your cheek forward. So when she turns to the side, you'll see a beautiful highlight. Another thing I like to do is just take it and kind of hit the brow bone with it. Alright guys, brows are back. Go ahead and look at Cara Delevingne. It's all about bigger brows. So don't be afraid to get in there and create a nice weighty brow. I'm going to go in and I like to start on the outer portion of the eyebrow. Take your pencil. I like a pencil for the outer portion and I might mix some powder onto the inner corner. When you're doing your eyebrows, keep in mind there are little guidelines that will help you figure out where to put your eyebrow. If you take your pencil and create a line from your nose to the corner of your eye and straight up, your brow should come to about right there. Go ahead and look straight ahead for me, Amber. If you take your pencil from your nose through the center of your eye, that's where your arch should be. If you take your pencil and line it up with the outer corner of the eye, that's where your eyebrow should end. I'm leaving this section bare so that I can go back in with a shadow so it looks a lot softer. For the inner corner of the brow, I'm going to select a shade that's a few shades lighter than her normal hair color. I'm going to go in. Wherever you deposit your brush first, it's going to drop the most color. So I don't want to start over here. I'm going to start right here and work my way towards the inside corner. So see how it gradually gets to a heavier brow? That way it doesn't look so blocked, so heavy. Create a nice softness here into where the body of the brow gets nice and strong. I'm going to go ahead and smooth out the edge of where I used the pencil. There you go, a beautiful, nice eyebrow. If you do make a mistake, don't be scared to grab just a touch of a little bit of your foundation and clean up around the edges. You don't have to start all over. Just take a nice firm brush and get it back to that shape you want.